So I was a licensed clinical psychologist for many years. I was also a professor, and I taught a class on cognition and emotion. And there were a lot of theories out there about what emotion is, most of which I disagreed with. They all were very brain-based, very mental. But I did agree with William James, who was one of the founders of Western psychology and very intuitive thinker. And he said that emotion is basically this bodily response first. It's a feeling first. Then we have mental and cultural conditioning that comes in, and what we call emotion after that. So I'm going to say feeling instead of emotion, because there are primary feelings, and then those are mixed with some kind of cultural conditioning, and then we have emotions after the fact. I think we all need to get back to that primary feeling state, to honor that, because we've dishonored those primary feelings, which actually, in my view, whittle down to basic aversion and attraction, or no and yes. Simple as that. We are actually simple creatures. And our cultural conditioning, our mental overlay, overcomplicates everything. We often talk about positive and negative emotions. I'm going to say those are basically yes and no feelings, attraction and aversion feelings. So if we look at what we call negative emotions, we usually mean that there's some moral story, that it's bad to have these emotions, but there's nothing bad about negative emotions. It's really just our no. So the primary feelings, the primary emotions that are negative are anger and disgust. All those are is just aversion. It's just the body itself saying no to something. But we have been so denied our basic yeses and nos, our basic feelings since childhood, since before childhood, that we have a moral story on that negative emotions are bad. They're not. They're just your no feeling. But most of us have like tens of thousands of feelings of disgust or anger or basic no that we've walked past in our lives. I have a client I was just talking with this week who is saying that she has so much guilt about having so much anger in her system. Right there, it tells you we have a story about emotion instead of an honoring, a curiosity. What is this? What is it that's here? And can we start to just honor what is in our body? We can. I encourage you to look at your negative emotions. Look at those things that you think are bad in your system. I bet you anything that they are just a no. And if you trace back whatever it is you have a negative emotion about, see if you can find that physical no. It was a feeling of disgust or anger, a feeling of aversion in your system. And you, awareness, pure witnessing consciousness, can honor that for the body. You can see, oh, I just was disgusted. I just didn't want to be around that person. I just didn't like that food. I just didn't like what they were saying. I had an aversion to it. Same with the positive. What are those positive experiences you have? Joy, curiosity, those are primary feelings. That's just something you were attracted to. Your body said yes to. We need to get back to that feeling state, those original responses. They will steer us right. Our emotions, those down the line effects of having had a story or an overlay on top of those primary emotions, is where we get all backward. So we think, I shouldn't be so mean. I shouldn't not want to hang out with that person. They're my family after all. But we like what we like. We actually don't even have a choice for that. We are creatures after all. We're attracted or averse to things. It's actually as simple as that. So I encourage you, track those positive emotions. What's your yes? Track those negative emotions. What's that primary feeling, that no underneath it all? Can you honor that? Can you see that as just what it is? Very basic, very animal, and actually built to steer you right.